I'm going to be quite brief. I'm going to share with you something that I'm most excited about. We've been working with Vivior for the last 2 years, maybe 3 years. And this part, this particular part, the Vivior Lifestyle Match Index, is absolutely something to behold. So there we go. So the Vivior monitor objectively measures patient behavior. We've seen a number of examples. Here are 6 on the screen. And if you had 600 on the screen, there'd be 600 different images. It's like our fingerprint. And once you've got this data, it matches it to the performance properties of a range of IOLs to compare monofocal, bifocal, EDOF, and trifocal IOLs. So this image on the bottom right over here is a monofocal lens providing this particular patient with 45% of vision correction for distance without spectacles. That's the shaded part. The unshaded part to the left is where the patient would require glasses. Now for this same patient, put in a bifocal IOL and you're adding 19% functionality. Put in an EDOF, you're adding 37% functionality. The only part that they're not getting is the part shaded in the green, which is near. And put in a trifocal, and suddenly you've got the full range of vision. So when you look at a defocus curve like this, the first thing the device does is it puts in a generic monofocal. So you can show the patient, for 45% of the day, you're going to be free of glasses, but you're going to be using them for 55% of your day when you're at intermediate and near. Then it automatically does a pull down menu that matches all of the lenses that you have, and every single lens that has a published defocus curve is in the library now. It's like a Google search. And it then automatically ranks those lenses from the one that fits best all the way down to the one that fits least best, which is the monofocal, obviously. So it also, in the pipeline, not long from now, it will include mix and match. So you could have 2 different lenses and it'll show you what you're going to cover in terms of your defocus. It'll show you monovision. You can actually calculate a monovision patient. And then for the new Vivior lens that Alcon have released in Europe, that's an EDOF, that a wavefront shaping lens. Many people are going to use it with the dominant eye for ametropia and the non-dominant eye at -0.5. And that's going to give a full range of vision with very, very little dysphotopsia or no dysphotopsia. So this tool is going to give you more power than you've ever had before to try and figure out what the right lens is. And then the second thing you can do is you've got the option of putting in the level of vision you want over there. You can have it at 20/20 or 20/25. We mostly use 20/25. 20/25 is very, very functional vision. It's what people need for flying an aircraft. And so if you have 20/25 throughout your range of vision, you're doing pretty well. This video mightn't work because we have a lot of people on the webinar and it's a little slow. So I think we might just skip the video. But the video was simply showing a patient who was an ideal candidate for a trifocal versus a patient who was an ideal candidate for a, it seems to be working now. Please give me feedback if it's not going well and we can skip the video. It's about 3 minutes long. But the person wears the monitor all the time. When they come into the clinic, you show them that it's their information. And we'll show them the screen. On the left is the defocus curve, and on the right is this matrix that gives you a very quick idea of how much time you're spending at the different distances. So 43% at intermediate, 44% at near, and 13% for far. And if you now look at it horizontally, it shows you what the lighting situation is, because you know the device is also measuring the light as well as ultraviolet light. So this person's 61% in good light. This is the beauty, the LMI, the Lifestyle Match Index. There's the monofocal. In this case, 7% of the time, no glasses. This person with a monofocal is going to wear spectacles for 93% of the day. Now, when you tell them that piques their interest. When you now go to what the device has shown, and this is shown for this particular patient, the best choice is a trifocal, and it's giving us a 54% increase in the functionality. If I now go and change the metric to 20/25, suddenly you find we are adding huge value. And when patients see this, they telling me, go ahead, which lens we're going to use. Now for this particular patient, showing an EDOF, it's still adding 45% functionality in the intermediate range. It's not doing much for the reading. And I'm going to show you why in the past we didn't have massive success with bifocals. Here's a restored 2.5. We've added 2% functionality for this particular patient and given them dysphotopsia with no, with no advantage. Here's what a trifocal does. So for this patient, no question, trifocal is the way to go. For this second example, I'll do it very quickly, is a patient who comes in a defocus curve looking like that. You can see that most of the time is spent sort of between intermediate and distance, and the matrix on the right shows you very, very well where they're spending most of the time. 50% for intermediate and 11% for near and 39% for distance. And then in terms of, you can see how that looks on the defocus curve. And then in terms of lighting, they're spending most of the time in probably office conditions. So this person is someone who's spending a lot of time looking at a screen. Go to the options, the LMI, it automatically ranks them again. That's what the monofocal is going to give us, 4% functionality. The rest of the day, 96%, you're in spectacles. So the unshaded part is where you're not seeing without the help of spectacles. And now what we'll go and do is look at what this is said. And now it's said to us, the very best lens is in fact an EDOF. And an EDOF now is adding 63% functionality. So there's a much smaller part of the day now where the patient's reaching for glasses. So, and for this particular patient, if you put a trifocal in now, you don't have nearly the same effect that an EDOF would have given you. And these are not questions that are answered by how much time you spend on a PC. It's answered by specific defocus curves. That coach gave a beautiful talk on how we need to know where the patient's needs are, that we can make this fit in with the lens's performance. Oh no, it won't let me go to the next one. So when you go to the next slide, the summary slide. Oh no, could you please just go to the next slide for me? No, skip this one. So the summary slide is the one that follows this. It simply says that 2020 is a year that we really want to turn around. It hasn't started well. And I find it so sad for so many reasons, but for ophthalmologists specifically, this is a year we've been dreaming about since we started. We've really been dreaming about the year 2020. It's the year of the ophthalmologist. But it's been a year that hasn't really lived up to its expectations so far. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is that through all the course of the afternoon, you've heard the importance of keeping patients safe. You've also heard the importance of looking at the premium market to try and, first of all, help patients, but also help our own practices. And Vivior allows you to gather this exquisite data that's really going to give us the best outcomes for our patient by matching them correctly, and at the same time, do that remotely. And the reason we use multifocal IOLs or presbyopia correcting IOLs is never going to be primarily just because we want to try and increase our revenues. Doctors don't do that. The reason doctors do it is they know it enhances patient satisfaction. If you select the right IOL and it's well suited to the patient and it's well selected, they're going to be happy. It strengthens word of mouth referrals, both from happy patients as well as your patients walking around with this device on their glasses and their colleagues and their friends asking what's happening over there. That helps patients live a fuller life. And at the same time, if it can help us recoup some of this year's losses and help us try and generate some revenues with fewer patients while we're stuck, it's sort of a win-win. So thank you very much, and over to Vance.